Good evening, I'm Camelia and you're watching KiniNews. Khairy Jamaluddin has hit out at UMNO's top two leaders. This came following the government's decision to grant the party an exemption over their no contest motion.
Former Umno Youth Chief Khairy Jamaluddin has questioned the validity of UMNO's decision to suspend the election for its top two leaders. In a video on Instagram, Khairy said that Home Minister Saifuddin Nasution Ismail's decision to invoke Section 70 of the Societies Act 1966 indicated that the Registrar of Societies had indeed ruled that the motion was invalid. He added that an alleged leaked letter from ROS to UMNO also backed this claim. He said, this meant that UMNO members' rights had been robbed.
Your right to choose Presiden dan Timbalan Presiden has been robbed by this bogus usul yang dibuat oleh bahagian Ahmad Hasan. Dahlah tak malu buat usul nak melindungi ketua sendiri, siap boleh langgar perlembagaan parti sendiri. Wow. Just wow.
In the video, Khairy also addressed claims that Saifuddin's decision would ensure political stability. He said this argument was invalid because Zahid's opponents in the polls had already pledged to support Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. However, he said sadly their commitment could not be tested as the invalid motion was made legitimate while the pride and rights of UMNO members were cast aside. He added that with this, now the UMNO constitution is of no value and has become a toy just because of the lust for power.
Meanwhile, Hishammuddin Hussein has suggested that his suspension and Khairy's sacking was a pre-emptive measure for the party's leaders to safeguard their respective positions.
Hishammuddin Hussein has claimed that UMNO's decision to suspend him and sack Khairy Jamaluddin from the party could have been a pre-emptive measure in case the party did not get an approval on their no-contest motion. The former UMNO Vice President said this in the comment section of a video posted by former Health Minister Khairy Jamaluddin on Instagram last night. Hishammuddin questioned what is happening in UMNO and said that now the Home Minister has been dragged in as well. He claimed that this is why they were sacked and suspended, just in case the minister does not give an exemption. Yesterday, Home Minister Saifuddin Nasution Ismail revealed that he exempted UMNO from a law that could have seen the party getting deregistered. This was over the decision to bar contests for the President and Deputy President post in their upcoming polls. On January 28, the UMNO Supreme Council sacked 44 members, including Khairy and former Selangor Chief Noor Omar. Prior to his removal, Khairy had announced his intention to contest for the presidency. He was also critical of Zahid and promised to cleanse UMNO if he held the top posts. Meanwhile, Hishammuddin was slapped with a 6-year suspension. No reason was given for the suspension.
Hadi's remarks were back in the news today. Umno Youth submitted a memorandum to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong and called for the Tan Sri title accorded to the past president to be revoked.
Umno Youth has urged the Yang di-Pertuan Agong to revoke the Tan Sri title accorded to past President Abdul Hadi Awang. They said this was over Hadi's insolence and disrespect against the king and Malay rulers. Umno Youth Vice Chief Abbas Salimi Azmi said this is as Hadi's remarks on toppling the government went against the king's decree for political stability.
Yang bagi kami satu kenyataan yang sangat biadab ke atas Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku Agong. Banyak kali Tuanku Agong telah pun menitahkan bermula daripada penubuhan kerajaan persekutuan, bermula daripada sidang pertama penggal ke-15 Parlimen. Tuanku telah menitahkan supaya kerajaan ini bertahan, sama-sama mempertahankan kerajaan, memulihkan keadaan negara, dan Tuanku mengharapkan tidak ada pertukaran kerajaan lagi seperti mana yang berlaku pada sesi yang lepas.
Abbas told the media this after handing a memorandum urging action against Hadi at the Istana Negara this morning. He also criticized Hadi over the remark and called for action against him for disrupting the country's stability. He added that Umno Youth will embark on a roadshow nationwide, including in Sabah and Sarawak, to raise awareness among the rakyat if Hadi went on with his rude remarks.
UMNO President Mohamad Sabu also commented on the issue. He said Hadi's remarks could scare off investors who want political stability.
Amanah President Muhammad Sabu has hit out at past President Abdul Hadi Awang over his remarks about changing the government. He said as a veteran in politics, Hadi should have urged his party members to support Perikatan Nasional, which PAS is a component of, and work towards toppling the government in the next general election. He added that Hadi's remarks might drive away investors.
Di antara syarat pelabur untuk berbelanja dan mengeluarkan pelaburan mereka ialah kesejahteraan, keamanan dan kestabilan sesebuah negara. Dan mereka sanggup mengeluarkan belanja yang besar untuk melabur. Tetapi bila ada pemimpin besar seperti Haji Jamaluddin Awang menyebut soal nak menukar kerajaan tidak melalui pilihan raya, ia boleh menggusarkan, gelisahkan para pelabur.
Muhammad added that the change of 3 prime ministers in a short period of time has already disrupted investments in the country. Therefore, he said it is best to change the government only in an election and not by causing holes in the roof through a Sheraton move or by getting statutory declarations. However, he added that he had confidence that the government held by Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim will last until the next general election. His remarks came following Hadi's prediction last week that Anwar's government will collapse soon. Hadi did not divulge any details on his remarks.
Former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak, who is serving a 12-year sentence, is pursuing a postgraduate course. According to reports, he has registered for a PhD in economics.
Najib Abdul Razak is pursuing a postgraduate course from Kajang Prison, where he is serving a 12-year sentence. A source close to the former Prime Minister told Malaysia Kini that Najib had registered for a PhD in economics. A report in Sinchu Daily also confirmed this. Sinchu quoted Home Minister Saifuddin Nasution Ismail as saying that Najib would be allowed to continue his studies in accordance with the standard operating procedure. However, he said Najib would not be given internet access or a laptop. Saifuddin was quoted as saying that they would try their best to facilitate it, such as for him to follow a lecturer. Meanwhile, Saifuddin was also quizzed about social media postings attributed to Najib when he does not have internet access. To this, he said it was not unusual as it is done through his media team. He added that there is no law stopping Najib from giving his opinion and pointed out that when Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim was in prison, he was allowed to issue media statements when he left the prison to attend court hearings. Najib is currently waiting for the federal court's decision on his application to review his conviction in relation to the SRC international corruption case. On February 28th, a 5-member bench reserved its decision on the case, saying that the parties involved would be notified of the outcome no later than March 31st.
Back to Khairy, the former health minister has given Anwar's government a B- score. Khairy said this was still a good score.
Former Health Minister Khairy Jamaluddin has given the unity government led by Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim a B- score for its performance over the past 100 days. He said, "This is still a good grade," but argued that the cabinet's performance was still inconsistent. Khairy said this in a podcast with former UMNO Information Chief Sharil Hamdan yesterday.
B-. Dan bagi saya B- itu adalah markah yang bagus. Ya, jauh lebih tinggi daripada passing grade. Tetapi B- kerana long term policy masih lagi samar. Ada banyak gaps dari segi policy. Performance cabinet tak konsisten, ada yang bagus, ada yang tak berapa menyalah.
Khairy also commended Anwar for maintaining political stability. He said the Prime Minister also managed to establish himself as a centre-left politician through the Budget 2023. However, he said unlike Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, who could form his government in 2018 without the support of other parties, Anwar could not do this in the last general election. He said politically, Anwar has an albatross around his neck, which is the Deputy Prime Minister and President of UMNO, Ahmad Zahid Hamidi. Regarding the performance of Anwar's cabinet, Khairy commended several Harapan ministers, including Economic Affairs Minister Rafizi Ramli, whom he said has good ideas, Youth and Sports Minister Hannah Yeoh, and Transport Minister Anthony Loke, who he said has the highest rating so far.
UMNO President Ahmad Zahid Hamidi has called on UMNO members and candidates in the upcoming polls to not be influenced by anti-government groups.
UMNO President Ahmad Zahid Hamidi has told UMNO members, including those contesting in the party elections, to not be influenced by groups that aim to destabilize the current administration. In his speech at the introduction of UMNO election candidates in Kota Kinabalu last night, he said he did not want to be among those who supported other parties and set aside UMNO's struggle. He said he hoped that those who are contesting were really committed to strengthening UMNO at all levels, especially the national level. He said they did not want there to be candidates championing the end bloc or on the block in UMNO today. Zahid added that candidates were also reminded to comply with election regulations and there have been candidates who lost their qualifications before election day. He said the election committee also had the right to nullify victories and hoped that all candidates would understand the regulations set.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Kimilia. Thanks for watching.